no secret. Everybody knows what's going on with that, right? We know we got some conflict in the news today from CBS. Saw that there's satellite images that Russia starting to mobilize now. So the idea of the war seems to be that much more imminent than it was before. Regardless of the talks that these people saying they having and what they're not having, it's obvious that at some point that this could potentially lead to conflict. As of now, we do have a tentative date that it may pop off. And this was something that we were looking at actually thinking about last week, and it seems to be what a lot of people are saying. Most people saying that they're probably going to try to wait to after the Olympics was over or close to being over before they kind of pop off. Why? Because y'all know, Russia and China are somewhat they comrades, right? They've been really, there's a bromance between President Xi of China and Putin, right? And so right now, of course, Putin might be like, well, I'm gonna let my homeboy, get a little shine on with the Olympics real quick before I, run up in Ukraine, back door. And I think that's what most people been kind of prophesizing thus far, and thus far seemed to be that's what the case. So there was I should say information that was coming out over the weekend that it was more than certain that Russia was probably waiting until like midweek, like this week. All of a sudden today we found out, okay, now they're saying that it potentially can be that of Wednesday. This is Levinsky, right? The guy from Ukraine. Like, so these are top level people. These ain't, down the line chitlin circuit type of, reporters and analysts,
right?
Coming out this coming out of the horse's mouth that they're saying that it potentially may pop off this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, hence when that came out, the whole idea of that, what did the market do, right? Y'all probably saw the SP 500 at that time. Really quick, let's run over there and show that real quick. Then I'll come back to this gold and silver and all the stuff I was talking about for the metals. I was just going in on the metals too. I was like, these are what you want to watch. These are the commodities that Ukraine and Russia have in their in their bag. So you want to watch these, and they're like top tier wheat producers on the planet. I think like third and fourth on the planet for us export with wheat. Anyway, man, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Goodness. Right, so let me show the SPY real quick just on GP. But we saw that. I mean, you guys were watching the market like I did. So yeah, it got real, real froggy in the markets today. I mean, this thing was just all over the place. And literally, this drop right here was just that. It was the ideal. Number one, we already know that the Fed had a special meeting today to address the ideal potentially, the whole issue surrounding inflation. The information concerning that meeting hadn't really leaked. Is people who were speculating, but we still don't know the outcome of that. So that was also weighing on the mind of a lot of investors throughout the day. And on top of that, people was waiting to hear more about the whole Russia scenario because that's the elephant in the room. As soon as that came out for the CBS kind of tweet that they put out that the satellite caught Russian troops mobilizing, right, moving out of some stationary position where they was before, instantly that caused the market to feel froggy. On top of that, the whole idea that the I forgot whatever that guy, the minister of someone, the guy Levinsky, put out also some information that they're pretty much analyzing that it may end up being like Wednesday when it pops off. That on top of the whole idea with the satellite scenario, it caused the market just out of there, right? So you had a big flush, and even market was just kind of grinding up anyway. We've been seeing this all for the last week and a half, where the market just kind of slow grind at throughout the day, then dump on the back end of the day. Right, it's the strategy we've been seeing all for the last couple of weeks. So I've been watching the same way. I'm like, okay, as soon as I see that kind of rounded top happening at a point where it's kind of inching, that's what I'm gonna probably take me some intraday puts. Right, I'm willing to access the risk versus reward in that moment for the idea that knowing that the market has been very pattern centric lately of showing you that's when it's gonna get ready to roll over. Typically right after lunch or a little after lunch period. Right, it's been doing that a lot. You go back, look at the charts; it'll show you exactly that. Right, so I'm just playing under the rules of engagement. So clearly, you had a big dump from 441.50, dang near, all the way down like 435. So you had a run on the market here, roughly around about 6 points, guys. 6 point run on the market in about from 1 o'clock to around about 1. It's close to about 2 o'clock. So a whole hour, the market just kind of flushed. Like intraday, 0 days to expiration puts, somebody cashed out big time. I got me a couple of them up here above 440. I ain't gonna lie, right? But this is what we've been seeing a lot lately happen in the market. Again, the markets are very finicky right now. It's very skittish people in the market now because they're trying to stay, long-term invested mindset, but they also overstaying a lot of their welcomes in some of the position they may be in terms of sectors because of the market being overbought in some cases, even though we hit some oversold moments of late because we had such a big drawdown so quick, so fast, and the market haven't had enough, time for us to move the average and kind of balance out that point where we feel like, okay, now we just at a new level. We making, start assessing the market for upside moves here, at least, incrementally ahead of all the other bad news that's coming for rate hikes, whatever. But a lot of people looking at it's like, okay, the markets are oversold, bro. We need to be buying the dip. But then we turn around and say, well, okay, what's your game plan? Are you playing into the rate hikes? Are you using this as, okay, this is a 3-month, assessment investment? You're following the analysts because they got to stay invested in because they got client. I mean, it's a hot mess. It's just a hot mess to deal with, right? But okay, there's the risk, right? You put all the risks out there on the table, and then you make your decision from there, right? Don't go into this whole idea blind. Don't go in with a mindset that it's just completely binary, because it's not. There's layers to it. But for the most part, the feds are still printing money until they stop. Think about that, guys. There was another 20 billion printed, for the mortgage-backed securities and the bonds just for this month. They don't stop until next month. Mind you, guys, they still adding liquidity to the market right now when they complain that they're trying to stop it. Like, you couldn't make this stuff up. Right? They're still printing money and complaining about inflation being high, and they're telling you that they're being, measured in their approach to make sure they monitor it. Again, they're behind the 8 ball. We know at this point they're behind the curve, they're behind the data, they're late, they lag it, and that's why they're making this kind of very, I don't know, this so hurry up and wait kind of prognosis about the market, and it's just making things worse than it is. That's all it is. But it's giving Wall Street another day to live. That's all it is. It's giving Wall Street another day of execution. They don't get taken to the fire range, right away. So that's basically what's happening now. So Wall Street is saying, okay, well, if we got a date or right around the date, around that March, like March 10th, somewhere around there, the next FOMC meeting, could be off a little bit by a day or two, whatever. They're saying we're going to play ball all the way up until that date, unless something else changes. Why wouldn't they, right? Because that's what the markets do. They climb the wall of worry, and when the news comes out, in this case, it will possibly be a buy the rumor, sell the news, right? This is a great way to front run all that potential value. So that's why the market ain't just really imploding on itself. And every time it tries to, it rallies back. That's a lot of algos been really the algos are being what they call fine-tuned now to trade more tighter ranges. So you're gonna see a lot of chopping, even though it's still volatile, but you're gonna start seeing that value where the market goes to try to dump. Instantly, you're gonna start seeing some buy algos come out of nowhere, start buying the market, right? Makes no sense, right? Because that's the illogical value of putting robots in real world situation where now that has caused markets to move in a very inorganic, erratic fashion. When before that would be good old fashioned capitulation, stop loss rates, market just going to pull back organically. That doesn't happen anymore. You got all these V-shaped recoveries. That's inorganic, very inorganic, right? However, they'll tell you that this stuff is normal and it's not, right? So yeah, you have to think about that, especially if you trading options and you trying to finagle around these little 1 or 2 day expirations. Look, you got to build your game. You can't linger. You can't just sit there and languish, whatever. Excuse me. You can't just sit around hoping that markets are gonna flush, or just rip. I mean, look. I mean, go to the daily chart. What do you see here? I mean, this is ugly. I mean, it's money being made because I've been crushing it. I've been taking these tops and hitting these bottoms pretty well. But if you look at this from a daily chart perspective, you see the VWAP been holding pretty well for the most part, right? We're talking about peak to trough trades here at around that 458, clearly being resistance back down to a VWAP around 446. So you're talking about roughly about a 12-point window there. That's beautiful. If you know how to trade within that that kind of ebb and flow of that. But of course, recently we lost that, right? So that's interesting. We lost the VWAP, and definitely lost the 20-day moving average on the daily chart. Now the markets are really skittish now, right? Really skittish. Now you're banging up against support at around that 440. Every time it gets near 440, you see a massive amount of people coming in trying to buy at that point. Algos are being programmed to do that, and investment banks, whatever, because they know, any day that they got falls, a state of execution that they can use to kind of, add liquidity to the market here and then, day trade in around it, or pull liquidity out of the market. We've been seeing more outflow than inflow from big money lately. That's a sign. That's a very ominous sign that a lot of retail traders finna get stuck holding the bag potentially. If this thing get out of control, Retail traders finna be stuck holding the bag. Why? Because you're seeing big money leave, and they're just selling into the pops. They're selling at these little, slow grind up, and they just like everybody knows at the same time. They just pull the rug on the retail trader that's buying the calls up at around the top, and they get stuck holding the bag. I mean, they've just been doing that for the last 2 weeks. Watch, rinse, repeat, and people still haven't caught on. Meaning, for those who are not, more risk, risk minded, disciplined in that perspective, because they just chasing the ideal of a what, rip your face off rally and this, that, and the third. They just hoping that the market just do like it used to do, and the market ain't doing that anymore. They just keep trying to force the market to what, to grind and go higher. It's not. So this is by design. They're trying to keep this market in a very, very, I don't know, tight level or lane somewhat. And if you think about it, look at this from a bigger picture. This is an all-time high. This is our big drop. We came down and hitting that 420 area. Where we at? We're kind of sitting somewhere in the middle, right? 420, close to that, right? Between 450, say 458 to that of 425, right? And then from that, from 450 up towards like 475, 480. So around about 25-point range. Could make this stuff up. And now it's just sitting right in the middle. So this is the part where you have the kinetic energy building, and the market is kind of what they call it in impasse mode. It's impasse. It's it's stuck, right? It's just stuck in that moment, right? No clear winner here. And long as this, this setup presents itself like this and not necessarily give you a definitive direction that you can really, kind of sink your claws in, or some really good, direction of bias is, you got to be very cautious day to day. Yeah, we lost a VWAP. Granted, we did lose that. We lost 200-day moving average, especially in the ES futures in the future. So that's very important, right? Why? Because now that becomes instant resistance, right? Clearly. Same way, looking at this, the daily, if you're using a 20-day moving average, especially if you day trading with options, the 20 moving average is a really, really good indicator for that falls, trying to plot levels off of. So yeah, we are in a very unique place. So the markets are trying to price in. Y'all been hearing that all weekend. I'm pretty sure y'all are. Whatever Discord room you've been in, whatever, investment Twitter, if you've been over there, people have been talking about the market's trying to price in this. Stock Twitch, wherever you've been hearing a lot of that commentary over the weekend. Let me be very, 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 very frank with everybody. If it was priced in, you would not have the level of volatility in the algos than what you're seeing now. Like any idea of what breaking news might have came out, be it Fed value and or Russia Ukraine tension, you wouldn't have those kind of pullbacks like you see in right here, right? Go to this minute chart. This right here, that tells you right then and there that it's not priced in. No matter what they tell you, it's not, right? It's just that when it happens, or some symbols of ideal of the news coming out, that it may be some groundbreaking news, they got these algos, as they say, the last line of defense, they got these algos ready to try to come in and say the market, a lot of dark pool buys. That's starting to happen a lot from the banks, because they have invested in to kind of, prop the market as long as they can. Because keep in mind, people fail to realize the institutions, they love front running long-term, opportunity. If they can buy a massive amount of puts when they think the market is going to roll over at some point, a month, 2 months down the road, don't you think they love when these markets kind of pull back fast like this and then rip back up almost the entire move? Because they get to add more to their puts. They washing out some of the profit they might have got from the last one, buying more up here. Retail, like, man, look, I only got a few hours in this. I need this thing to keep flushing, right? I need to get all the money out there. Look, you got to be understanding of this stuff. These levels matter too. Again, 436, clear point of what? Support point. No secret there. I mean, you can see how it bounced at around that 437, 436 area right here. Look at there. Look over here to the left. What do you see there? A whole lot of what? Consolidation right there. Accumulation. That means that's massive support, right? That's massive support in around that 436, 437 point. It breaks that, of course. Yeah, you may have that extended flush below that, but then guess what? It rallies right back into that same zone. Like, could make this stuff up. Many people have a vested interest to prolong, like they trying to prolong this death as long as they can, for lack of better words. But that's essentially what they're doing. I mean, look at the market here. It's just in one big, on the bigger picture, this is an ugly big old bear flag. On a short term, it looks like a what? Like a potential, bull break, right? At some point, like you're looking to break bullish, right? It looked like it wants to break bullish and at least try to test some point, some key points of what resistance, maybe that 445 back toward the 450, right? Trying to build a big round at bottom, but it's so ugly and, you know, disorganized and chopping, the chart all messy here because of the headline news scenarios. It can't really catch traction. It can't get that equilibrium, build, these inside bars, kind of what do like it's been doing. It's kind of ramping, going up. That's not here now, right? Because a lot of motion is starting to get baked into the market, and people are panicking some places than others, right? So with that being said, again, the initial conversations that we're talking about the whole Russian thing, and I was asking the question before I didn't know that the mic wasn't on. What are some of the commodities that Russia and Ukraine have in their within their GDP that they benefit off of, that they export? And in the event that this war does particularly happen, what would be the ramification in terms of destabilizing those commodities, right? In terms of the commodity market being able to be, of course, in this case, they will probably break out, right? They will, that scarcity aspect of it, right? So I asked that question to our Facebook group, and I think it was Ober Chris and many others too. They chimed in on that, right? I don't know if you remember, Ober Chris, what were some of those commodities that Russia has in this cadre?
Wheat, crude oil, and coal, I believe.
Right. So wheat, crude oil, and coal, right? Some of the biggest, commodities that Russia had, and they export this stuff. So it's not like, this is just stuff that they just use, enter their country. This is stuff that they export, right? So on top of that, what are some of the metals? Do you happen to remember the metals that they also have in their control?
Shoot, I had it wrote down somewhere. Let me see if I can find it, because I'm definitely gonna look for it.
Right. One of them was definitely, and I could definitely cheat on one of them. One of them was palladium. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember palladium? Mm-hmm. And I was talking about that. Look on this commodity market, right? Because right now some of these assets are still hot. Some of them closed down. What was the biggest gain on the day? Just looking at this chart I have up here now. Excuse me, some of these metals here. Excuse me, and commodities. What was one of the biggest gainers here?
Palladium, 171%.
Y'all see that right there? 7.84%. Went up at highs almost, I want to say like 8% plus today. Go figure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Go figure. Right? People like, yeah, this is why it matters. No matter how much USA try to downplay the idea of Russia and turn all these sanctions, this, that, and the third, man, look, out of there. Forget about it.
Yeah.
What was number 2? Natural gas. Go figure. Russia has pipelines all throughout Ukraine, Crimea, all into Germany. That's why there's a lot of problem and conflict of interest over there. Why the Germans, they stuck in the catch-22 because they need that natural gas. They mad, meaning America's mad because they can't clearly sanction them on that perspective outright, because it'll also be a conflict of Germany. So basically what they're trying to do, they're trying to get Germany to be deflect from that or defect from that value of being dependent upon the natural gas from Russia, even though it's right there. They already got pipelines that help them, get the natural gas fast. America want to play the role of we're going to boat natural gas into y'all country. Like make that make sense. I mean, you could make this stuff up.
Iron and steel,
man.
They export a lot of stuff, man.
They export a lot of stuff out of Russia, right? So you can't brush Russia off and say that they're not important in terms of what it could do for us damage in the market. And people know that, but they got to play the role of the propaganda to kind of make dumb down, what they consider to be maybe the strength of giving Putin that kind of mindset that he has, leverage, right? In any moment when you got war, right? They do that with Iran all the time. Yeah, they always trying to downplay these other, try to chump them off, right? But they can't completely do it. Why? Because these are nuclear powers, right? These people are nuclear state, right? You can't just dumb it down, and they still got a lot of pull in a lot of the commodity market. And right now, where's the biggest investments happening right now around the world? In the commodity markets. Why? Because of inflation.
Yeah.
Like everybody's surrounding inflation, the commodity market now, because that's where the money's being really made, to be honest. And we ain't even talk about oil just killing it. And this is just a recipe for disaster, right? For anybody who are, who's thinking that oil is not going to go high, or it can't go higher, or it's getting ready to peak at some point, and maybe we get a reprieve from the gas pump. That ain't finna happen, bro. Look at him.
Finna
Get
keep
ready.
going up.
It's going up.
$100 barrel price.
It's going, right? With or without the war scenario, it's going. Because that genie is already out the cat's already out the bag. That genie already at the bottom. Right? And the feds can't fight it fast enough. Why? Because they're still trying to play the role of what? Let me wait and see. They ain't doing it, but making it worse. They prolonging the death. They're making it worse because these people are dug in. Their credibility is pretty much in the tanks. They still trying to make this be, a scenario where, well, maybe they, as bad as we think it is. We still think it's not transitory, but we still think maybe at this point, since we waited this long, it got to be getting ready to peak now. And they just keep kicking the can down the road, making it worse than it did, while still printing money. So again, it's weird, right? When you think about it, like, man, these people just they ain't got no chill. Right? They have no chill. So yeah, palladium, Russia, natural gas, Russia, right? Again, we already know those alone will inadvertently cause what? All the precious metals to rip. That's why silver was up today, dang near 2%. That's a lot for silver on the day. If you can get 2% out of silver on the day, that's a lot. That's around about 40, 50, 60 cents. That's a big move on silver on the day.
Yep.
So silver's starting to break out finally. And it's been, setting up, but look at the chart. We're talking about on a relative basis, right? It's basically outperforming gold a little bit. And it's known, obviously it's cheaper, but people been knowing that, that silver has the propensity to really go because it's been undervalued for so long. And it's just starting to get in this tight challenge. You see, that's nice. I mean, it's bull flagging. You see clearly here, you got a base support at around 22 to 21. And, you got potential highs, within this tight channel around about 24, 25. Outside of that, you get some blue sky breakouts and get up there towards 26, 27. We may go test that $30 again. Guess what? If this conflict pop off, it's going. just be not investment advice, but if this thing pop out, silver gonna rip. Right? You see, it's the perfect loaded gun right now. The way it's setting up in around the bottom here. I mean, looking at the monthly chart, the weekly definitely kind of give you that perspective too. It's definitely in that moment where it's getting ready to make that move, right? Kinetic energy building up, whatever. Right? Spring loaded. Right? Gold had a big day today. That wasn't by accident. Gold also trying to price in because you need a lot of things to work in favor of gold being able to break out. It's not so much, a tit for tat scenario like most people think it is. Gold depends on a lot of different factors to really get going. So it put up almost 2% today. That's a massive move for gold today. Gold is also pricing in everything we've been talking about, inflation and war. Because we know in the event of a war scenario, what do most nations resort back to, or they start stockpiling? Precious metals. Because if they ever have sanctions or hit them, their currency get devalued, from other value for exchange, guess what they got? Precious metal. People gonna take that gold, bro. Right? Yep. You can't sanction gold, right? They're gonna take that gold because it's spot, it's universal price, right? You can mess up their currency, fiat currency, but they're gonna look, that gold is older form of money, and it'll always be, especially in conflict, right? Because people ain't finna turn down gold, bro. You need some extra missiles. All right, yeah, you got some gold ball? Yeah, I got you. Right? I may not can take your dollar bills, but I can. Hey, you got gold, let's do business. See how that work? So things you got to start thinking about, right? Because again, on top of other things that we already know, with that of what? Inflation and conflict, gold is starting to look. You see this around the bottom starting to kind of happen. It's building that kind of higher low perspective here off that last pullback around 1705, 1710 area, and you've been getting that. There you go. Your little higher low starting to step up, and now you start to break. 1900 is right around the corner. Last time we visited 1900 was around about what? Around spring or summer of what? 2021. It's definitely starting to get back in that kind of setup where it can easily break out from here. Right? The longer it consolidates in this channel, that kinetic energy could be the difference of it breaking out that same length value. So you're talking about well up near 2,000, over 2,000, probably an ounce, if things really get out of hand. Right? So you want to look at that, right? These are great things to look at in the event that this thing pops off. Precious metals, commodity as a whole, going to be really, really good place to kind of at least keep somewhere close to your portfolio if you're not going to trade. Wheat popped off today. where we know wheat as a whole, because Russia's a big component of wheat too. Some of those things happen. Now, even though that's U.S. wheat, but they're a big exporter of wheat. How important is that? Very important. Right? Aluminum still breaking out. Aluminum ain't stopped breaking out. Right? Again, a lot of things here, guys, to look into. Right? A lot of things to look into. So there's no secret there. Again, natural gas. Again, we talked about that. No secret there why natural gas is breaking out. Look, this is all the stuff that's going to be universal in terms of if things pop off, you want to be keeping these kind of assets around your portfolio.
That's crazy. You don't learn none of this stuff in school, but it has such a big impact on your daily livelihood, man. That's crazy.
Facts. All these little things, right? Again, we think about it because they're almost in everything that we use to a degree, right? So there you go, brother. Snotball, you're right. So yep, they also export aluminum. Like I said, we talked about aluminum and refined copper. So again, some of the y'all already own it, man. So I was about, man, I tell you,
iron and steel, iron and steel. What else? Nuclear reactors, boilers, machinery, pearl, stone, precious metals. Yeah, they got a bunch. They got a whole bunch of stuff they export.
And some of them, like I said, and I don't know if y'all knew this or not, but I think they're like number 3 or number 4 in the world in terms of wheat export.
Yeah,
they sit in the 3rd or the 4th spot on the planet for wheat exporters. And keep in mind, y'all know Ukraine used to be old Russia before they defected and came their own little nation state and linked up with these far western European nations. That's why this Russia Putin really upset too. These people they frauding, right? He looking at them like, y'all frauds, bro. We used to be all one. Then y'all got a part of this old you start smelling your must, and now all of a sudden you don't like y'all get it. That's they've been doing that since like time immemorial. Right? The whole when people say the old Europe, right? Gothic Europe, right? When the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Scythians, all that, they Mongroots, right? That's again, idea they call them Russian. They call them Mongroots. Right? Look, it go way back. These people been fighting for a long time, bro. So don't get it twisted, right? They almost wiped themselves off the planet several times, right? I mean, to my hundreds of millions they lost and just fighting each other just constantly. That's just part of their nature. Whatever, call it what you want, but these days, you look at these conflicts and people say, well, man, how would people have the propensity to want to have these levels of conflicts at this day and age, knowing all the particular collateral damage that can come, knowing these people are superpowered, the level of the weaponry that they have today, as opposed to back then they had BB guns, sling shots and spears. It's a whole different ball game now because you're going to do massive damage, right, with the artillery that these nations have. So that's why people feel like this is just I mean, it's just unbecoming to that they would allow it to happen, so to speak, right? Meaning they would say, well, why don't some of the other nations, these superpowers, get in the middle and intervene? Like seriously, y'all think these people have that kind of level of power over these people just because they can threaten them with sanctions?
Right.
I mean, the goal of these people living in the fantasy world, they got more people becoming more and more soft to the point where they don't understand this stuff been happening. Yeah, no one wants war. We get that. No one wants that. Don't get it twisted. No one. But these people, again, they have old school backyard fights they've been having for years. The only thing difference is now, guess what? They got bigger guns now, right? They got bigger rocks through. And that's what makes everybody scared. And the fact that, again, it disturbs what? It disturbs the ideal of the money flow. And Wall Street always putting what? Money over what? The reality of, again, people's differences, that and the third, right? They're too busy trying to, worry about businesses and this, that, and the third, than the civility of what the planet should look like anyway. Of course, you cause a problem, you deal with it as such. That's just the reality of things, right? People don't want to deal with that because they want to live in this fantasy world that, you can't have your cake and eat it too, just from that perspective. Right. So yeah, that's why this thing is getting a little out of control, and it continually probably can get, ratcheted up even more and more. Meaning, if the fact that if Russia does go ahead and go through with this, y'all know there's another simmering war in terms of China and Taiwan. People don't really want to get in that because they know if Russia does pulls this off, instantly after that they're gonna start looking at China. Why? Because the world gonna be distracted with that. China gonna get us. You know what? We might as well go ahead and do what we're gonna do. Right, the Olympics over at this point. We ain't got to worry about that now. We finna focus back on Taiwan. Now, look, I'm just saying, keep all things on the table, guys. All things. All things.
Yep.
Right. So it's important that we realize that, guys. And again, we are in a very unique time right now because you're dealing with inflation, you're dealing with global potential conflict, you're dealing with a midterm election coming up. You got bad policy, whether a person for or against in terms of that, what happened with Joe Biden in terms of whether or not they've been I don't know, maybe substantial and thus far in policy if it really aided America, being they had some failed policy that's never good for any kind of sitting president. And now you're distracted from getting proper partisan value now because you got to deal with what's going on the global side. So like timing is like very critical is my point. Timing is very critical, right? Because of what? Markets are very cyclical in nature. We talked about that many times. And in terms of you having a boom or bust cycle, if you're in a bad moment where you got good things coming out of the pipeline, it can easily be overshadowed by what? The potentiality of what? These kind of conflicts. Or whatever. So it's like people like, man, I was saving that bacon, but guess what? Ain't nothing you can do now, right? They didn't ruin that moment.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So a lot goes into this, guys. A lot of people don't understand the logistical aspect of how this stuff works in markets the same way. Why? Because they are really caught up in, again, hoping the market just always bend to their will, right? And so again, they won't hedge, they won't lessen their risk profile. They're still trying to trade the market like it was like last year. Like, no, you got to be very cautious here, right? Very cautious here. And so we employ people to take that approach. Realize that this is a moment where historically, again, going back looking at the ebb and flow of markets here, where if it gets any more tense than it is, don't fight it. Let it happen. Why? What I mean by that, meaning markets. Why? Because we saw a big reset happen in 2020. We're not saying the market going back that low or whatever, but we know the market still due for correction, even though it feels like it's kind of still somewhat oversold coming off 480. And that's how market looks at it because they got so comfortable in having shorter drops and more shorter correction than typically what we do back in the historical days. So people are still under the mindset that they're protected. Wall Street feels like they're protected. They feel like they're still being shielded. And this is the part of the game where it can get really ugly. So I'm like, hey, look at the market in a way where if nothing else, you could tell yourself this every day. And this is not investment advice, but I think it's worth putting out there. Look at the market right now that is in a way that is still somewhat expensive. Look at it from a very this thing is still expensive. Why? Because you can't, look at the market from this point, even though we're still close to all-time highs, but you can't really fathom, knowing that we're going to go into, again, depends on how they do these rate hikes. We know they're trying to kick that can on the road. You're not going to have what they call a loose cannon type of market that we had in 2020 and 2021. So if nothing else, say to yourself, okay, the market is expensive. If you do that, you'll take a more disciplined approach and trying to figure out where are some of the more fertile places that you can probably move money around to. And number two, in the event that you like these high growth stocks that we all fell in love with darling stocks that everybody feel like they're great to hide that in, you convince yourself that they still look expensive. You won't be so quick to try to add a lot of money to some of these stocks at points when you know that they're still on shaky ground, technically and also maybe fundamentally. It'll slow your roll from being, overly jubilee about, these stocks like we was, like I say, last year. Of course, we were all in on Tesla when it was ripping, right? In 2020, and we were running and running. And many others like that. But I think everybody needs that kind of subconscious voice in the back of the head to saying, wait, be a little cautious here. If you were saying that, if you're doing what they call $5 DCA, dollar cost average, and that 5% pullback, you may want to increase that to 7 to 8 now, maybe 10, right? Maybe 12.
Mm-hmm.
It'll better serve your money at that junction or that value than trying to play the role of what, this is just this is not right. This is just not real. No, the market's supposed to be you finna get ran over if you play that role. Why? Because I can assure you, if you pay attention to the outflow, big money institution outflow is giving you signals right now to saying what, bro, we dumping on the pops. I don't know what y'all talk about, but yeah, y'all could be the new bag coders. Knock yourself out. Right? That's important, right? You guys got to realize that they're dumping. Every time the market get you little parts or grind up, they big money dumping. Again, you see the chart, what happened today. Right? We've been seeing that for the last 2 weeks. The market just grind up and then dumps. Somewhere did midday after lunch, it just dumps. Like that ain't by accident, guys. I mean, like at some point, people have to start realizing that's not by accident, right? That's happening somewhat in a very constructed way. Like it's like they send out a memo at the same time. Like, look, City, y'all gonna dump. JP Morgan, you gonna dump? Oh yeah, we gonna dump too. Credit Suisse, you good? Yeah. Bank of Mark, Deutsche Bank, y'all gonna dump? Yeah, we gonna dump too. Like seriously, guys, it's getting to be really, really, somewhat telegraphed. I can't say definitive, right? Because we don't speak in absolute, but again, patterns and trends are what we do for a living. We recognize certain things, right? We're being trained to recognize these kind of scenarios. So yeah, right now markets are trying to do some really, extraordinary things, and it's on borrowed time, right? It is literally on borrowed time. Right. So every little moment that you see the market trying to, act as if it's back, right? We back, Mortimer. It'll show you that what we're not. Like nah. It shows you that it's sensitive. Is my point. It's not Teflon done like it was before. And clear as day, you just got to be comfortable in knowing how to read read the markets, right? You got to literally a double top, right? Clear as day, where pre-market showed you 441.30. If a person was very disciplined, they would have saw that and said, okay, if they got us up there during pre-market after being down a lot this morning, obviously the futures, whatever, chances are that's going to be the pinnacle that we need to kind of see. We saw that happen last time on the CPI data. Markets almost did the same thing. It just retraced it, did the same thing today. You got all the way back at the 441.30, 40 area. Guess what happened? Out of there, right? So clear as day, there's your risk management profile. There's your particular value of I guess a stopping point in terms of the algos from that perspective. If nothing else, you have a good, again, risk versus reward profile sitting up there. And after that, you had a big flush down to 445 again, just in 1 hour, just 6-point drop. This stuff is just crazy. It's crazy, right? Watching all this stuff unfold, right? So, be very cautious, guys. Again, if volatility scares people, I would tell people just pull back. Don't try to trade every day. This is the best time to be observing the markets anyway, for most people. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth putting the capital out there because, you're getting these kind of head fakes throughout the day, grinding up, killing theta, then just dumping all of a sudden. Now, all of a sudden, Delta back on, right? gang, right? We back on again. Like, this stuff is crazy, right? It is very crazy, right? So you see the market right now, it got all this kind of, flashing like that. I mean, orders still coming in, from options and all that stuff, dark pool settling. So market's just all over the place right now, trying to prepare for what's to come. Again, if that date is going to be Wednesday, just based upon the news we've been getting, then yeah, markets may be getting ready to try to price that in, right? Trying to price it in, quote unquote, trying to price it in. But as of now, that's the latest that came out of, again, I don't know, the talking heads, I'm just gonna call them that, is that they have a date and they're trying to say that may pop off Wednesday. Right? So I can assure you that maybe, well, look, we ain't got to guess and speculate. Let's run right over here the bar chart. And let's see what Wednesday, SPY puts or calls looking like. Right? I can almost guarantee, right? It's somebody finna get ready to start front loading. Right? They were already probably doing it anyway, probably Friday, who knows? But yeah, it's finna get real in the fields, one would say. Right? So let's run over here really quick and look at this. And I'm not gonna be on long. I'm gonna hop off here short. I just wanted to come on it again, add a little bit of a little commentary to the fireworks that we got today, and then keep people prepared, keep people in the preparation mindset that hey guys, be cautious, be calm, be cautious. Right now, a lot of people maybe never been through things like this in markets, whatever, depends on how long you've been at this. You want to be very, 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 very methodical in your moves. Is my point. So yeah, look at the put to call ratio. That happened today. That happened today. A lot of that was today and mixed, but most part, we know this right here. This is today. This is the open interest. So this is people who's already front loading this. This is a combination of people that came into this market from Friday already loading up the puts. So put centric value, inflow in terms of hedge values, you want to call it that. They're starting to ramp up a little higher. This is people who swung into today, and these are people who bought today. This is for Wednesday. And I guarantee you, after the market started dumping, when that press came out that they said that, the satellite caught Russian troops mobilizing, a lot of people started buying them puts right away. So let's take a look at probably some of the heavy areas where those puts came in at. Clearly, the 440 was coming in high. Why? Because we was up near 440, 441 at that time, right? So look at 34,000 contracts came in, or excuse me, 25,000 contracts came in at the 440. After that, the market started dumping so fast, they were just trying to buy them, right? That's when you saw it still like that. That means people were rushing, trying to buy the next particular dollar level on the way down. They're just chasing the market at that point. Look at the 435s, clear as day. Why? The market bounced at around near 435 and change. Couldn't make this stuff up. Loading up the 435s for what? For Friday. Excuse me, for Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. Look down to the what? The 430s. Couldn't make this stuff up. Half and whole dollar marks. Y'all know we talk about that a lot. Historically, people are creatures of habit. They love spending money, at a $50, whole dollar mark. It's easy for them to parse change or, keep up with their money. They invest the same way. 435, 430s, clear as day. Loading up at that 430 strike price too. Look at those contracts there. Right? Dollar a piece somewhere around there, give or take. So, yeah, people are trying to front run this. On the call side, of course, 450. We talked about that. That'll be great for, the market can get back to that promised land. That's a big resistance point. But I mean, this market still got to clear the hurdles of what? 442, 440, 445, excuse me, area, and then up towards the 450. I mean, that's going to be universal because you can look at the calls and puts and see what they're doing. But those areas are just, that's going to be hit or miss at this point because people feel like the market is feeling the fog or the fear of the pullback more so than they think the breakout could potentially happen. Again, like it used to do. That's not happening anymore. Right? It's not happening like that anymore. So they're cautious, but they still feel like it can happen. And it potentially can. Right? The markets are literally one good news, release from trying to get a massive, really, really good rip your face off pop. Now, will it be sustainable? Probably not. But Wall Street is trying to say we're trying to get up out of some of these penalty box channels because right now they are in that penalty box. They are back in a place where, matter of fact, let's go over here really quick. And like I said, and we'll get ready to get off here in a second here. All right. I'll let Chris back on here. Let me show you this really quick here. All right. This stuff is getting really, 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 really interesting, guys. And we're going to stay on top of it, guys. We're going to stay on top. But we're not going to let off, too, because we realize that, a lot of people out there just going to be jumping. And I was talking about Barrett Gold before, again, when y'all couldn't hear me. But this one here, I've been watching for quite a while. And I was telling people that I missed the entry around about $18, a share for this. And this is, again, a minor. Barrett Gold is an old school play. Again, Berkshire Hathaway got some money in it. They also bought a lot of silver recently, too. So I don't know if know about it. A while back, actually. But, Warren Buffett's been buying gold and silver, which is all out of his playbook. So that tells you that if he's starting to, look at some of these plays too, guess what? It can get real in the field. Gold, again, is a good hedge when things like this get big. Look at what's happening here in terms of the pattern here. You starting to see that round at bottom. You see it broke out today. No secret. Barrett Gold, right? Barrett Gold. I repeat, Barrett Gold. And they got earnings coming up here, of course, obviously tomorrow. Wednesday. But this is more so based upon all this stuff that's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Cleared over this 200-day moving average here on the daily. That's a massive breakout. Why? Because gold broke out. So a lot of junior miners and smaller holding companies that deal with gold, they're breaking out too.
Mm-hmm.
So this one you definitely want to keep on your radar here. All right. Barrett Gold is one I've been trading off and on for a lot of time, for a lot of years here. And it's a great mover. Right. And this is one that again Buffett has in his portfolio. If you haven't completely liquidated, I think he still got some in it. But really quick here, let me look at the SPY here and show y'all this here. Right? I got to see this here now, because today, this was a game of what, pin a tail on the donkey. They were trying to make sure that you keep this thing above the 200 moving average here, at least within the SPY. Outside of the ES that kind of closed below it. The SPY is trying to play within that confine and saying that we might be still protected if we can stay above the 200, because that's a psychological level that if it goes in terms of the spider value of it, that'll be very problematic. So this is just, they're doing everything they can to keep this thing above dirt, to be honest. All right. And it's hurting, even though you got green impression down here on the squeeze momentum, but they're very faint and they're very weak and frail, because every time they seem to get a little pop, it's getting sold into. Look at the volume here, the outflow volume here. Just on the daily chart. Look at these last three volume bars here. Massive volume that's leaving 153 million shares there. 141 million today was, up there. That's not even counting everything, because it doesn't really factor in a lot of the stuff too. But just from that fact, that's a lot of outflow that's still starting to happen around the markets. Right, and the size of them too. Right, so. Yeah, you had a chance to, you break here. They lost that move here around 457. That was your double top clear as day. Everything's from that point on just been, weakness. All right, so it's in an ugly place right now, because it's hard to tell, if we got support to bounce or if we got clear resistance to take out, the run and go lower. Right, because again, old support becomes new resistance, and new support, becomes new support becomes new old resistance, right? In some case, on the flip side, you come down the market, right? So now this becomes a new resistance, and clear as day, you got a 200 moving average sitting there too, which definitely helps you see that. So you're playing right up against a hazard zone, right? That's a hazard zone right there. If that breaks, of course, it can get real ugly. Meaning, if we close below it, at least close below it. You close below it, they got the market right where they want it, right? They're having it in a very, very vulnerable place. Right? It'll be in a very vulnerable place.
That's a clear double top right there.
Yeah, you see that, Chris? So that means, again, that was the moment to really turn it. Now everything is like, bro, y'all gonna have to bring the bazookas, everything. You're gonna need look, and then you say this, you look around the market and say, well, what catalyst do they have to really turn the market to just get it back up? Obviously, the whole thing with COVID, right? COVID kind of being, not a big issue now. We've been hearing a lot of news on that it's not as bad. That ain't gonna turn it outright. What else do the market have really to turn the market? You would need, number one, the Russia whole thing to go to complete ceasefire, and then you still got to climb the hill of what? Interest rate hikes. That's coming, because inflation is still going to be the one thing that's hitting everybody across the head.
Yep.
You can't escape it. So markets in a very unfamiliar place, and they don't like it, and they're upset about it. They're in their feelings. It's personal to them, right? They've been riding the entitlement mindset for so long with a company, the Fed being hawkish as much as possible, trying to tell you, hey, bro, we gave y'all fair warning, but y'all still don't want to listen. Y'all hard-headed. Because greed does that to people. When money comes easy, like it came in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's hard to get that out your psyche that it ain't coming as easy anymore. It's like, like, look, your ex, she ex now. You still like, look, hey, like, yeah, we've been broke about 3 months now. You still calling me talking about what's for dinner? What you mean what's for dinner? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you forgot we broke up. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. You're gonna learn the hard way. So this is the part where, again, where we have to be, conscious. And again, very, very, optimistic in the same breath in terms of finding those, those little outliers, those little value plays that are, giving you that backside of I'm gonna say protection, but opportunity in markets. We've been, waiting for, some of the energy plays to pop, some of the utility plays to pop, some of those plays that were just, value plays that were ready to kind of make a move. Just got to start searching for them now. If nothing else, you can definitely hang around the commodity market enough where you can find some, some moments there, because that genie's out the bottle, right? That ain't going away no time soon. Hence, we talked about stocks like Alcor, this, that, and third. Of course, it's outside the linear band now, and it's still fighting. It's still trying to rip higher. It's aluminum went up today, per spot value aluminum. So all these little junior aluminum plays like this, wholesale distributors like Alcor, it wants to rip hard. So guess what? Any little weakness this thing has and kind of pulling back and collecting itself, they're gonna be all over this here, right? Because they know, if nothing else, we can hide out in some of these metals until things really, calm down a little bit, right? And so again, hey, we know what to do, right? We know what to do, right? Brother Ramsey, going in, man. Come on, Ramsey, man. Help me coming out today, man. I'm trying to get this stuff loaded for good information, bro. Help me out today, right? Help me out today, Brother Ramsey. Right? Keep it on topic. Either you're gonna get the information or you're gonna let the money run away from you, man. Keep it on the topic. Keep it on the topic, right? Keep it on the topic, right? I'm starting to get my nieces and nephews to pay attention. I got to make sure I take care of their piggy banks. I got to keep them focused, right? Let's keep these kids focused, man. We're doing this for the future too. So keep it centric much as possible. So that's what we're looking at, guys. So as of now, man, the markets are again signaling the ideal of potential conflict. We'll see, right? We will see, right? So as you see down in the description box, as we do have a little commentary down there when we can. Right here, I just want to show a little bit. I'm pretty sure y'all probably saw it, but this was just again some of the news that came out because some people were getting confident information. They're like, man, I don't know if we, ain't no really, I don't see any kind of prolific news press out there, saying this and that and third, because it was just coming in like that's what happened in these kind of moments, right? It's coming in through tweets, it's coming in through hearsay, it's coming through sound bites, and so that's what caused that market to pull back. Again, you had the CBS say that it reported, seeing troops, Russian troops. Well, let me repeat it. CBS reported that Russia has readied its troops into position to launch an attack, triggered fresh fears that of an imminent attack on Ukraine. So again, satellite caught them mobilizing, right? And y'all know it. The longer you allow troops to sit somewhat in a ready position, there's only so much time that they have before they have to make a move. Why? Because you can only be in a BSS site for so long, right? Because you're gonna mess up the ground. The ground gets muddy because all these big heavy tanks, troops. Y'all get it, right? Especially you got rain, all this stuff. It gets real messy, and it's still cold over in a lot of places. So the ground is already gonna be a hot mess. So you got to get on the move, right? If you're gonna do something, you got to have those days kind of planned, and that's kind of front run all those particular scenarios like elements and just that and third, rations, fuel. Y'all get it, right? Just for some people in the military. So them moving a little bit today, on top of the diplomatic scenario that they're trying to kind of get them to a point of ceasefire, is like, look, bro, these people, they hearing y'all, but they ain't really hearing y'all. No matter how much you try to say that, no, man, we think we got got them in the point where at least we got them talking, man. Look, they can't read the mind of this guy. They trying to read Putin's mind so much, and he keep looking at him like, y'all, bro, y'all ain't about that life. Y'all ain't about that life, but I'm gonna do what I want to do. And they can't accept that. They can't deal with it, right? Biden tried this weekend, failed miserably, right? He failed miserably this weekend. He just can't get a W, right? Like, people really don't even respect him. Again, I know people like, man, that's my president, man. Good luck. But he really ain't getting no respect. Right, they're just really chumping him off because they're looking at him. Whatever, that's another conversation. But yeah, so that's what got the markets in a state. So that was a tweet that came out right here. The tweet was, U.S. officials says satellite images show Russian troops leaving assembly points, moving to attack positions. Right, that came straight from CBS. So somebody got some satellites, somebody got them drones up there, which America knows it. Right, so there's somebody watching it, but they got a front row seat, right? So that's right there. That ain't no sidebar scenario. That's somebody really watching what's going on here. All right, that's somebody that's really watching. So that was enough to spook the markets today. So be it. Right. So as I said, so the reports were a blow to hopes that Moscow was open to the idea of taking diplomatic route to find a resolution, right? To de-escalating what tensions on the Ukraine border. Everybody knows it's about to get real, right? It's getting closer and closer. As much as they try to act like it's not, it's getting closer and closer. Russian President Vladimir Putin had earlier signaled his backing of Russia to continue talks with the U.S. See, that's the whole point where he got them thinking that what? It's all gravy, baby. Okay. Okay. Like, who reveals their hand in the middle of and they get ready to go to war? That just shows you how the nature, how the world has become now, where they want you to just really tell you their plans, like your plans when you get ready to jump off. Like where they do that at? Like, America don't telegraph that to us when they go running up into somebody else's country, right? For resources and this, that, third, the hypocrisy, right? Whatever, right? Straight hypocrisy, right? So it's and its allies after Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov described proposals tabled by Washington as what? Constructive, right? That's the word they've been using a lot. Constructive conversation, constructive. Like, man, stop. Like, stop with the talking points, right? Algos know what that's about, right? Stop trying to feed the algos, man. They're trying to prop the market. It ain't gonna work, right? The U.S. rejected Russia's main demand for guarantees that NATO won't allow Ukraine to join as a member, because that's what Russia's also mad about. They don't want Ukraine to join what? NATO. Because, again, technically, that land is still what? Tied to what? The indigenous aspect of Russia. What we know to be Russia, right? Before they defect, it's kind of like what Hong Kong is going through right now in China, right? The British still had a hold on that area. They were to kind of, formulate a peace treaty for China to keep Hong Kong as an annex value of China. And, even that broke. Y'all know what happened with that recently. That was breaking down because of, their tension began to really get out of hand. And now China like, hey, that's still our stuff, right? Yeah, we gave y'all so much leeway. It's getting ugly, guys. It's getting ugly. It's getting ugly. That's all I can say. People ain't ready, but I'm just saying, stay on top of this stuff, because it can get real messy. Meaning, you don't need but one bad scenario to pop off. It can domino affect a lot of other stuff. There's already tension inside of Europe. People fail to realize it was no more than maybe 2-3 summers ago when Europe, they were still in the middle of fighting, right? This whole Brexit stuff. People forgot about that. Spain fighting with Greater Europe, Britain, London, all this stuff, man. Look, these people have been fighting, bro. They've been at each other's neck.
Yeah, ain't nothing new.
Ain't nothing new. So people have to realize. So yeah, you need but one bad apple to what? Again, China, Taiwan. This ain't by accident. People think it's an accident. Gotta understand warfare, man. These people been at each other's neck or been tied to these little scenarios. And these people trying to gain more power too. They ain't got time to wait. They ain't gonna wait on you to suit your need because it makes you look good, diplomatic, or to save your stock markets. And people don't care about that stuff. Number one, they deal with hard, tangible commodities. They deal with something that you can't paper over through fiat currency or gloss over on the service industry. That's what makes them a threat, because they got hard, tangible assets. Again, on the aspect of when we talk about America, what does America really manufacture? We have a little agriculture, granted, here and there, but it ain't nothing. Man, look, all right. These people been sold this country out. They know it. That's why they try to talk a good game. I'm just saying, bro, I ain't finna play that game or just, being naive about it. It's not gonna happen. So U.S. rejected Russia's main demand for guarantees again that NATO wouldn't allow Ukraine to join, right? So but offered to discuss limits for missile deployments in Europe and restrictions on military drills. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. Good luck. So if this thing gonna jump off Wednesday, look, all right. All right. Right. That's why you're starting to see people trying to front run the markets in the same breath. We'll see. Again, if it was the fifth, we all be drunk. We don't know. But I can assure you that where America think they have at least some kind of level of control and power in this, they actually don't. The same way, Macron went over there, the French president, right? Y'all saw the headline on that foolishness? He wanted to go have a sit-down meeting with Putin. Putin was like, bro, I don't know you like that. You need to take a COVID test. He denied a COVID test because he thought, well, in his mind, it's like, well, I don't want y'all to have my DNA. But these same people been pushing the jab. They've been pushing the jab on a global, oh man, just get the test, get tested. How you come into another man's house and tell him that you ain't gonna, show him that that you good to go, that you solid. That's like somebody maybe have hepatitis B or hepatitis C, whatever, and they coming over the house, but they potentially, they've been around people that make it have it, and you're gonna allow them to be around you and your family and your kids, and you're supposed to just be fine with that because they worried about if you put them on spots. Hey man, make sure I need to make sure you're good to go before you come around my family. As if that's swipe against them. It's not like, bro, that's protection. This stuff is crazy. This is lunacy, right? It's comical and it's dramatic in itself. It's so funny that these people just I don't know what they got going in their head, but bro, like, look, bro, you ain't gonna take that test, bro. We can't, we ain't gonna really have no conversation here. It's just sitting like a mile across from the other side of the table looking stupid. Like, you just wasted the trip, bro. And in the old fashioned, how Putin would be sitting there looking all just sitting there like, okay. He like, all right, yeah, okay, about that. And no matter how they try to make it seem like, it's all good, it's all gravy. It really ain't. It really ain't. It ain't. I mean, it'd be no different than, especially like I say, buying, just like Putin just sitting there with his head down, like, okay, is this over yet? Is this over with yet? Are y'all done? So is y'all done yet? This picture right here reminds me of basically what it looked like right now. But sitting there like, man, this awkward. Yeah. So about this here, I'm out of here, bro. So we'll see. So that's all I got, guys. I just want to come on and add a little extra, I did that. So wheat, rip today. It was up by 0.20% on the day. Again, a lot of these metals that we talked about, some of the other commodities that we know that's controlled between Russia and Ukraine, keep your eye on those because they're going to matter. They are mattering. They matter right now, but definitely keep your eye on those. And just keep your eye on our markets too, because again, we're fighting the uphill battle. And the markets are, again, looking to try to, they're trying to price a lot of this stuff in. All I'm saying is good luck. They refuse to let go. Not that they have to, but we are in some very abnormal times now where the market just not going to have that free fall like it used to. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. All right, so they can, pump as much as they can. They can try to keep this thing propped up. They refuse to let it organically correct because they know if it really get the outflow that they know the market can happen, they're afraid they won't be able to kind of control it at the point because they've been so thorough in controlling the price action, killing the VIX. Not the VIX is kind of popping a little bit. The dollar, all over the place, up, down, starting to really go up though, more high lows and just kind of going sideways. And the 10-year yield's finally starting to reveal itself, especially the 10 and the 2 in terms of that yield. Yeah, it's going to get it's going to get interesting out there. All I say is going to get real interesting. So just make sure you guys are conscious of that. Be patient with your positions, be patient with your strategies. Think about every variable that you potentially can, so that way you leave no stone unturned. I think you'll be fine. Right? I think you'll be fine. We didn't talk enough about things that you want to kind of watch leading up into this, right? This has been an ongoing perspective of just conversation about, hey, look into this sector, look into that, keep your eyes on this. If this happened, this is the kind of particular scenario you want to look into. So a lot of things out there that you can, again, put to thought. All right. So that's all I got, guys. Again, I ain't planning to be on long. I just want to kind of add a little commentary to, the potential ideal of the, bonds of, instead of bonds of a bad dad, you got bombs of what, I don't know what's the Elon in Russian, right? Some boorish porous or something. I don't know, porridge or something. I don't know what some bear meat or something. It's gonna get weird out there in the street. So just be conscious of that, guy, because we definitely we getting close to this right here, guys. It's about to get real in the field, possibly. Again, cooler heads prevail. Hopefully, they don't pop off because again, no one wants to see this thing really get out of control. But again, we're not naive in the same breath too, right? We're not naive. Right? These are homegrown, homogenous conflicts, and it's hard for people to accept that sometimes that these people are at each other's throat. It's the same thing Europe, same thing happening in Asia. It's the same thing happening here in America. People act like that ain't happening here too. They already talking about that we close to a civil war again, another civil war again. It's starting to, people, following that, the data, they starting to say we're getting close and close to a potential civil war in America. Again, January 6th, the riot on Washington. What do you think that was about? People, man, it's everywhere, bro. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's starting to just reveal itself. History repeats itself. All right. History repeats itself. So that's it, guys. That's all I got. So, any last words on the way out the door, guys, before I get out of here, man? Any last words, over Chris, over Dondra? I ain't got nothing else at this point. I just want to kind of add a little flavor to what's possibly going to, potentially can go down. You guys got anything else? Or we out of here? Y'all guys good? Everybody good. Everybody good. All right. So I appreciate everybody again, on the YouTube side of things. Well, over Snot Bar, appreciate you said baklava, right? Baklava. Appreciate you guys coming through. Brothers Rams in the building, right? The whole film. All right.
I'm at where you at, Oba.
Say again.
I'm with everything you said. That's where I'm at with it. Just be diligent.
Right.
Dealing with everything.
Keep your mind open. Don't get outside your comfort level. This is a part of what we do, right? We are again, we research basically for a living, right? We research the data hounds for a living, and so information is king. It's good to know what's going on in and around the world, right? Especially from an investment perspective, because it's good to know where your money may be effective and what's also where money can be fertile, right? So it pays to be in the know. And this is the best scenario that you can get from, the comfort of your home or comfort wherever you be on the planet. And you have all this access to the opportunity that may come from it, right? It's beyond the fact that you just, knowing something just because it's good to know it, right? That's one thing, but this is actionable value where you can put, a dollar sign attached to it. To me, I think that's very awesome. It's revolutionary. All right. And money going to be made one with the other. Again, as I've said many times, in the middle of conflict, it already destroys the value of hypocrisy because somebody's supplying bullets and somebody also supplying the bandages. It always happens, right? There's a vested interest in it. Somebody definitely supplying both of those right now for this potential conflict. Ain't nothing that ain't already been happening since time immemorial. It's just unfortunate because, it can get ugly. Hopefully it doesn't. Again, we're going to say hopefully it doesn't pop off. They find diplomatic resolution. But this just a great old school, backyard brawl. Somebody crossed the line, basically. We already Hatfield McCoy. Don't come across that train track, but then somebody crossed the train track. You look ready to scrap over there right now. So it's ugly. But you say, man, he took a superpower, though. That was more people, again, they scared because of that. But hey, that's what happens. You got people who are of that mindset, destructive, and they feel like they got to carry a big stick because they know they ain't got them hands, right? That's what the world became now. So if they're gonna let loose and blow up this rock, hey, what can you do to stop it anyway? Honestly, if it really got that bad, what can you do to stop it? You got no choice. Better start hanging out with Elon, get you one of them plane tickets up out here to Mars, bro. Take your chance on the red rock. Hey, you better save your money. Get you one of them tickets up out here. One-way tickets up out here, maybe. Take your chance out there in outer space, maybe. I don't know. Find one of them Transformers or something, Decepticons or something. And let me hit you right with you, bro. Get up out of here because they're getting crazy down here. But on all seriousness, we hope things work out on a diplomatic side and whatever. But we just make sure we stay conscious. All right, so that's all I got, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the bill. Again, sorry about the whole time. I was just in there just talking and nothing was coming through. So I'm going to have to edit that part out a little bit of the video to the talking part. I was just talking for a good little while too. And none of it was being, oh man, my bad. But it happens. Been a long day. It's been a long day.
Right? Good.
Right, so I appreciate you guys. My best to everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. Again, stay well. As we say, Shem Hotel to the fam, Ubuntu, the whole nine. We'll be right back at this thing tomorrow. We'll see what the market gonna do. So right now, the future market is up, slightly. That's just them trying to save face. Gold is kind of pulling back a little bit here. The market's again, it's trying to hold on. That's all I can say. It's doing its best to hold on right now. So we'll see what the future market holds here throughout the rest of the night here. And while everybody digests the idea of what potentially can happen, because a lot of people are scrambling right now around Washington, and they're scrambling because they're really trying to, the diplomats around here, the dignitaries that are in around, DC, the Russian ones. Yeah, look, there's a lot of tension around here, right? And Ukraine, because all you little, y'all know there's like it's a lot of tension around the DC area. Whatever, right? All I'm gonna say is whatever. But that's it, guys. I ain't got nothing else. I'll see y'all in the next one, guys. Peace, power, profit, the family. Appreciate you guys coming through. Like, share, subscribe on the way out the door if you're new. Again, we'll see you guys on the next one, guys. I guess we'll do like we always do. We'll leave out with a little tune. We'll leave out little tunes here. Peace, everybody. Peace to the fam.
Peace. Peace,
fam. Peace.
The bar raising, we keep moving it up. Ain't no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I got faith restored, why you pushing the brakes? I ain't full of myself, boy, I'm full of mistakes. I came from humble and roots, I'm here to stand and deliver. Had no one gassing me up, except the man in the mirror. I used to work on my handles, and now it's handles of liquor. I write these songs in a dark room, the candle will flicker. I stay practicing heavy, for when the game's on the line. It's like over and over, I run the plays in my mind. I'm a psycho, I'm taking my time. Rushing perfection is a dangerous crime. You gotta give it and take it. That's what you do till you make it. I had to roll with the punches and take the hits from the flagrants. I'm saying the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was falling, had me stalling. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on the line. I know I operate from a higher place. Wait, some decisions don't try a race. I'm doing what I can to fuel the flame like a fireplace. To make a bunch of money, buy my mama a fireplace. We make incredible songs to celebrate and get mad lit. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I'm like Brad Pitt. My homies say I live a life, yeah, just a tad bit. Learning how to move in this rap shit. I told them that the bar raising, we keep moving it up. And no surprises here, they knew it was us. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. An off game don't mean I'm losing my touch. And no excuses, I ain't using a crutch. Apologies if I was doing too much, but I always came through in the clutch. I was way down, now I'm balling. I done came up, and I called it. I done came in the clutch with the game on.